How to make your business stronger post-lockdown. So for the next 25 minutes or so, I'll share some stories or methods in which we've gone about increasing people's business during lockdown and how we're ready to come out post-lockdown and keep growing as businesses. We coach around 60 business owners, and I'm really pleased to say that since COVID started last March, we've had in excess of 30 businesses post personal bests during this time. That's personal best trading from when they first started. Firstly, regaining control. Look, something I've noticed is whenever we've gone through a change, whether we've gone into lockdown, come out to part lockdown, partial lockdown, there's been a loss of focus within the business. Whether that's a business owner within their teams, we have to really settle into that routine straight away. How are we going to change it, move it up? See, everyone gets unsettled when there's change. So how are you going to think ahead of that change? Come the April opening up, what are you doing with your team to ensure that we're ahead of it? That we're upping the pressure. See, within pressure, we're so used to having pressure placed on the outside. So we respond to outside pressure. But what we've got to monitor is this pressure performance. See, it's an upside down curve, a bell curve here. And there's the optimum amount of pressure that will lend to the best performance. And our role, a lot of my role during this time, has actually been to decrease pressure on business owners. They were under so much pressure last March that I decreased it. But during the time, we've had to know when to increase it. And now is the time to increase pressure. Increase pressure on your team, but the right sort of pressure. Everyone's going through some difficult times, but actually we've got to see it, not respond to external pressure. One of the things I've coached a lot just during this last week is people are so used to having external deadlines put on them that they're not as good as putting internal pressure on themselves. So I want you to monitor this pressure. Increase the pressure or decrease the pressure. And it was Bill Bezic, Sir Alex Ferguson's coach, who said you've got to have fire in your belly and ice in your mind. And you've got to realize when you have to put fire in your belly and ice in your mind. And now is the time for fire in the belly. So how do we go about that? Well, let's think firstly about your marketing strategies. What are they? See, if I asked you now, how many pages have you got in your marketing plan? Many people, it's a nice round number, 0. So we've got some concerns coming out of this, but we're not necessarily focusing on marketing and how we drive leads into your business. Look, leads are the fundamental aspect of your business. Do you know how many leads you bring in? How many leads come into your business every single week? Is that a number you're aware of? Write it down. Number 1, you need to know how many leads come into your business. And we need to know where they're coming from. So when we start working with business owners, one of the first things they say to us is, yes, I'm looking to grow my business. And you say, great, so what's your marketing plan? Well, I haven't got one. Okay, so how many ways to generate interest in your business? Mainly word of mouth. Look, we're past that now. We've got to work harder. How many ways do you have of generating leads for your business? 1, 2, 3, just write them down. You need 10. We work on a 10 by 10. 10 ways of generating 10% of your business. Now we're not looking for you to go from 0 to 10. That would be a waste of money. What we do is over every 90-day segment, we test a new route to market, a new way of generating those leads. For instance, it might be outbound telephone calling. It might be sending letters through the post and following those up. It might be your referral strategy. But you've got to think about this. 10 by 10. See, how much more of a secure business are you if you've got 10 ways of generating leads? I've seen people who sign clients, for instance, one of the things that they need to do, one of the businesses. And they did brilliantly in November. 10 people joined them, which was a big number for them, actually. I work on retainers, so it's a big number. Came from 6 different ways of generating leads. They all came in from different areas. If they only had one, they might have got none. Actually, they've worked really hard at generating leads. So how are you going to change it? A great method at the moment is to talk to other business owners. You know, we've worked really hard on our business owners networks, or they have. It's been a suggestion we made, but really hard on that. Look, I was chatting to someone who works in the carpet industry, and they said to me, well, we do quite well out of builders. I said, well, how many builders will refer to you? Well, you've got 2 or 3. I said, well, how do you get to 50? How do you get to 50? Have you got more chance of growing your business if that is the case? But that's just one example. I could say architects who are talking to planners, to builders. It's across the area. Whether you're a security firm talking to certain aspects that might bring you business. But really proactively going after it, because when it opens up, people won't have time to talk. They've all got time to talk now. So identify your strategic partners that you can then refer to or from. So your biggest single differentiating factor against your competitors is your team. How much do you invest in your team? Think about that. How much time do you invest in your team? See, as a business owner, what often happens is you have 3 areas coming to you. You have your team, you have your customer, and you have your business. All of these, this arrow points towards you. No wonder you're under pressure. No wonder you're feeling it. See, what's the right way? Well, you invest in your team. It's great. You invest in your team. You look after the team looks after the customer looks after the business, and the business looks after you. That's how we set you up. How much time you invest in your team. Do they have clear guidelines of what's expected to them over the next 90 days? How are you developing your team? See, they are the people that are going to make the difference when you come out of this, not just you. How motivated are they? What incentives have you got for your team? But let's look at and they don't have to be monetary, by the way. But let's look at that with the team. What are you expecting of them over the next month? I've broken it down from 90 days. What are you expecting over the next month? Clear guidelines. What are their targets? What are their KPIs? You see, anything that gets measured goes up. It's proven. That's why so many people, if you look in the world of sport, should I say, in the world of sport, all the top athletes, they know their numbers, but that's so one, they can improve. But as soon as you become aware of it, things will get better. Numbers will go up. So, time. How are you managing your time? Now, I've said managing your time. Question, is that even possible? How do you manage time? It's impossible, isn't it? See, time never stands still. It's the greatest force in the universe, time. It's always coming at you. It's gone. You can't manage it. It's impossible. Can I then ask you, if it's the greatest force in uniforms, time doesn't stand still, time dictates, time will be here before us, after us. Why do you all choose to fight time? Why do we fight time? See, we've got to self-manage around time. And there's some key techniques to this. There's a great book, Gary Keller's, The One Thing. We've all become distracted at the moment. There's lots of distractions going around. But what is the one thing that takes you closer to your success? That you need to repeat every day? 4 hours a day, what's that one thing? So we get caught up in a to-do list. And I want you, if you've got a to-do list next to you, I want you to do one thing before you rip it up. I want you to translate that to a success list. What on that to-do list is going to take you closer to your success? And spend your time doing that. If you want to grow your business, then look at that. Firstly, look at what's on my list that's going to take me closer to your success. And it is going to be sales. It's also going to be your team. And this is so important coming out of this, that we really structure our days, that we structure what we want to achieve. We look for you to move to a default diary, a regular schedule of tasks. Those tasks that you do every week. Now, firstly, please spend a little time analysing your time, and also then think about where you want your time to go. And I mean really analyse your time. Some say to me, oh, that's going to take me forever. And I say, yeah, great. Well, you're investing some time now. Invest that time, because instead of spending your time by doing the same jobs over and over again, let's invest it, find out where your time's going, and then move forward with it. Because we put them into regular slots. Look, we're creatures of routine and habit. That's what humans are. And I get business owners say, no, I don't do routines, I don't do habit. So what time do you get up in the morning? 6:30. And what do you have in the morning? Do you have a coffee? No, I always have tea. What time's that? 7:15. So you are a creature of habits. We've got to be really structured. So there's 4 key skills to time: analysis, there's planning, delegation, and self-discipline. How am I going to discipline myself? So number 1, we analyze where our time goes. Number 2, I want you to, then you start planning, you then delegate. But the big thing is self-management. How are you going to discipline yourselves? So you think about what you're doing, and then I want you to write your list of things that you've got to do. It is a to-do list at the moment. And I want you to look at that, think about your success, and then apply 4 Ds. The 4 Ds are, do I do it, delegate it, dump it, or defer it? Now, when you defer it, I want you to make sure that you defer it to a specific time and date. But the big thing that business owners let themselves down on, delegate and dump. They jump into the to-do mode. Do, and feeling that if they do loads that they'll be successful. No, we've got to think about what you're doing. So that's the first stage. Secondly, when do I do it? Deadlines versus live lines. See, we're so deadline focused. Urgent versus non-urgent. Are you focused on always spending time on deadline? Deadline based, in demand, urgent and important. See, if you do that as a business owner, you're never working on your business. And if you're not working on your business, planning your strategy, thinking about your marketing proposals, where you're going, how you're developing your team, the new products you're bringing in, should you be paid as a business owner? Do you just work in your business? How often do you spend time driving your business? Focus on the live line as well. Focus how we deliver this. See, this is a normal level of activity when we've got a deadline. Goes like that. Look at that peak right at the end. What we need to do is bring that deadline forward, apply that pressure. But it's positive pressure now. We break the task down into 3 tasks. And the level of activity is so much better. How do I get organized? Disciplining yourself. Focus, organized, lists, success lists. Planning your day the night before. Never end today until you've begun tomorrow. I think it's a Brian Tracy quote. Never finish today until you've begun tomorrow. Plan the night before. Plan the week before. You'll be so much more structured. You'll get so much more out of your week. Stephen Covey quote. The way you spend your time is a direct result of the way you see your time and the way you really see your priorities. And sometimes people prioritize clients over themselves. As soon as we change that, clients are really important. Customer is very important. But you know what? If you were having a 2-hour meeting with someone and a customer called you, they'd wait. So why don't you have a 2-hour meeting with yourself where you drive your business forward and others can wait? Because they will wait. They'll understand it. You're a business owner. How motivated are you coming back into the normal world, the new world, should I say? What is your motivation? This is really important for when you come back in. And I want you to think about this. What are your goals? See, I often see business owners who are lacking direction, lacking drive. They're drifting. They're worn down. And believe you me, it's been a tough year, hasn't it? You're worn down, but we've got to go for it. What are your goals? Think about that holiday that you haven't had for ages. How much money do you need to make in order to have that holiday? How do you have to structure your team in order to get that time off? 2022, how about thinking about a 4-week holiday that you want to have? I love a 4-week holiday for business owners because your business goes through every single cycle. But remember, money doesn't motivate you, it's the goals. And I come back to that straight away. So what are your goals, Mr. Business Owner? And invariably, they haven't got any. They've forgotten how to dream. And it'd be really easy at the moment to go into there. So I want you to think about your goals. As soon as you have goals, your motivation will increase. What would you like to own? What would you like to have? What would you like to do? Just think around that. Goals. I like them to be smarty goals. Specific, measurable. We all know the SMART element, right? What do the I and the E mean? Well, I want them to be inspirational and emotional. I want you to attach emotion to them. You see, it's the emotion that drives you. It's the emotion that gets business owners going. So, it's taken from Jim Rohn's, from 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness. It's a great book. A bit old-fashioned in places, but he talks so much sense. You can listen to it on YouTube. I think it's a free version on there. But the goal setting I really like. Just spend some time writing down what you'd like to do, what you'd like to have, and then experience everything that you'd like to do, just a kind of a brain dump. Then I want you to put a date on it. And when I say a date, I mean a date. The 11th of March, 2022. See, that sets it in your mind. Your subconscious doesn't understand, doesn't get 3 years away. It will always be 3 years away. It's not relevant to you. So I want you to think about that. Put a date in it. It happened the other day. I was coaching a physio. It was a gifted session. We offer these to anybody, three gifted sessions. I was helping them on that. And I said, what's the plan? And they said, well, within 5 years, we want to be here. And I said, when did you set it? And they said, last February. And I said, so what's the plan? Oh, it's 4 years. It would always have been 5 years away. Put a date on it. Now, here is the thing. I want you to write 2 sentences about each one, about what it means to you. Why do you want to do this? What does it mean to you? And I want some emotion in there. And if you can't write that, please just chuck it away. You know, it doesn't mean enough to you. And if it doesn't mean enough to you, it won't motivate you. So motivation is just waking up with a compelling pull to a goal that's compelling enough that pulls you towards it. So let's set some goals. And the other thing is, have you got a business plan? Or are you like those business owners that they do their business plan, they're very proud of it. Yes, I've got a business plan. And it goes in the top drawer. And 11 and a half months later, you get your business plan out and you wonder why you didn't hit it. Look, for me, business plan or numbers. I talk about emotion driving you. And that's what I look for, the goals. That's what drives business owners, emotion. But you need that strong goal on a bad day. On a day when things aren't going well for you. You have to remember why you're doing it. And making money isn't enough. Taking your kids to Disney, now that will motivate you more than making £10,000. So your goals are important. Emotion drives you. But the language of business is logic. That's numbers. So we come back to the numbers always to make informed decisions. So what do your numbers say? Have you mapped out your business plan for the next 5 years, 10 years? But in particular, the next year. Think about that. We always begin with the end in mind. So coming out of lockdown, I want you to think about where you want to get to. None of this, I don't know what the market's going to do. We are going to influence the market. It's one of the big things. We don't just sit there seeing what the market does. We influence the market. I was talking to someone just today who said to me, yeah, I market when things get quiet. And I said, well, that's like the seesaw effect that business owners do. Chase the work, do the work, chase the work, do the work. But there's always a gap. There's a big gap in between there. It comes from Jeb Blunt's book, Fanatical Prospecting. 60 to 90 days to fill a pipeline. And I see it time and time again. It happened in my own business. It happens in so many multiple businesses that I see. So let's say you're quiet in March. It's what you haven't done in December. So we've got to be marketing all the time. But let's come back to those numbers, that business plan. Where do you want to get to? We always begin with the end in mind. It comes from multiple books, but begin with the end in mind. To Stephen Covey in particular. Where do I want to get to? And we put it up there. It's a big goal. But remember, this goal, this target is to give me the life I want. To provide for all those other goals that I've got. It's not the other way around, by the way. It's not, let's see where the business takes me and then what's left. No, it's not that. It is, this is the life I would like. This is the business that I'm going to get. Let's think about that. Numbers like that. So we know where this business owner wants to be in 5 years' time. We then say where he needs to be in 2.5 years' time, where they need to be in 1 year's time. And then we break that down. This is the key bit, right? We break it down to the next 90 days. In the next 90 days, what do you have to do in order to achieve your annual goal? And we break that down week by week. We have 4 goals for the next 90 days. What's your must achieve business goal? Notice the language there, must achieve business goal. It is not optional. And then we say, what are you going to do week by week in order to achieve that? And we coach on the back of that. We hold you accountable. And then we have your number 2 business goal, your number 3 business goal. And the other one will be a personal goal. My personal goal has been to get fitter. I've spent a long time during lockdown stationary. Very motivated to do that, but I'll share it with people. I'll tell them what I'm doing, what my goal is, because they can hold me accountable. Now, a question for you. We know where we want to get to in 5 years' time. And we've broken that all the way down to what we have to do next week in order to get to there in 5 years' time. Do you think you've got more chance of achieving it than writing something, popping it in your top drawer, seeing whether you made it? How are you going to look after your customer? Have you really looked after them during this time? But you also got to think about how you sell. Look, the hard sell's gone, particularly during this time, the pushy salesman. But also you've got to think longer about that. How do you actually sell? Because we're getting all these leads into your business now. Number 2 is how do you convert them? And actually, when I talk with business owners, this is always the first place I start. What's your conversion level? And you know what? They say to me, invariably, I could write it down. Yeah, I convert well when I'm writing down 60%. I say, has it ever been measured? No, and I write down 60%. And so what is it? 60%. Okay, good. That's what everyone thinks they convert at. Great. Some brave say 80%. The week afterwards, when they've had to measure it, no, I've had a bad run. Why is that? Well, I'm converting at 20%. Okay. You see, that's what normally happens. So what is your conversion rate? It's important, and the detail matters. Conversion rate by lead source. So let's say you get a lot of referrals. Well, do they convert very well? I would expect that they would. But something else like in a website inquiry may not convert so well. But what's interesting there is this one, this referral, this word of mouth, they're almost a warm lead. They already trust you a little bit. The inquiry doesn't yet. So you've got to treat them differently. Or you've got to have a sales process that takes care of it all. So what is your sales process within conversion? Also what scripts do you use? I had an instance where I consulted actually. I wasn't coaching at this time. I was consulting in a travel business, transportation business, and they were converting at 55%. But when we looked at it, one of the salespeople was converting at 65 and one was converting at 40. So it was the detail that mattered. So what did we do? Well, we wrote a script. The 65% we looked to improve, but they wrote a script about how they did things. And we gave that to the 40%er and we trained them. We took them off the kind of final conversion calls at that time and we trained them. And guess what? The conversion went up. You see, scripts are so important. I don't want robotic, but actually a structure to how you sell. And this really gets to me, really gets to me. Businesses, right? They come in and they've got this brilliant way about how they're going to deliver this marvelous product, amazing product. Right? All the delivery of it, yes, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be brilliant. You say, so how are you selling it? Well, we'll just see who inquires. Go out, we'll sell it. It's kind of, we'll wing it. But you know what? You can have the worst product in the world and the best salesman and the best sales process and you'll sell a lot. You can have the most amazing product and just rely on winging it. And winging it to me, by the way, is an inquiry followed by a quote, followed by a phone call. That's winging it. If that's how you work, you need to work on your sales process. Do you use scripts? And I mean carefully thought through scripts, particularly your opening and your closing. Your opening is where you win or lose the sale, actually. Remember, people buy confidence. And they've got to know, like, and trust you. So where in your sales process at the moment are you getting them to know, like, and trust you? Where do you slow it down? But by monitoring your conversion level at each stage, whether it's the testimonial stage, whether it's the fact find stage, we'll start seeing how well you do, and we can improve that. So leads and conversion. And it's interesting I started there, didn't I? I didn't start with customers. You see, people know their number of customers. You do, don't you? You know your number of customers. But your number of customers are just your leads times by your conversion. So if we want to change the number of customers, we've got to do leads times by conversion equals customers. We have to alter the leads in our conversion. Same goes for your turnover, actually. We need to improve your average sale price and your number of times they buy from you a year. If we get those two right, you'll turn over more money. What are the ways in which you increase transactions? How frequently at the moment are you talking to your customers, your leads? Do you thank your customers for all the work? Have you spoken to them during this time, saying you're thinking of them? Have you emailed them? Are you emailing them your latest offers? Maybe they want to hear from you more often. Our transportation company, we were emailing every 2 days in the end. We didn't get any unsubscribed. But push it until you get some unsubscribes, and you know to pull back. So I've got some numbers I'd like you to think about. Just want you to run down this slide with me and see the difference this will make to your business. So your number of leads, let's say you've got 4,000 here. Conversion rate 25%, so 1 in 4 buy from you, which will give you 1,000 customers. They each buy twice. The average sales are £100. Gives you £200,000 revenue and profit margins of 25%, which gives you 50 grand profit. Now what's interesting now is I'm going to increase these all by 10%. So our leads go up to 4,400. Now think how easy it would be to put a few different strategies in place to do this. And think about what's really interesting when you use your own numbers in here. The number that comes out is phenomenal. And I'd urge you to do it. Think about how you could generate more people talking to you. If we really work on your conversion level, how we could get that up. But in this instance, I'm just going to go up by 10%. Which are marginal gains. And I say when I'm talking face to face with people in the same room, I'm a bit braver then. Well, I should be braver now, really. But I talk about the fact that, look, marginal gains are for Olympic athletes, top world-class people. And generally, our businesses aren't world-class yet. So you can have much bigger jumps. So 10% is nothing. Sometimes on leads, just by measuring it, it'll go up by that. So we're going to increase your leads by 10%. We're going to increase your conversion rate by 10%. Transactions from 2 to 2.2. Average sale up by £10. That's all. Your profit margins, look, that's going to happen naturally. Either your average sale price goes up, so your profit margins will increase, or you'll become more efficient with the way which your overhead works. And our profit jumps from 50,000 to 80,525 pounds and 50p. It's a 61% increase. Do you think it's time you planned like this? See, look at the difference there, 61%. But we have to know your numbers to do this. You can work them out generally to give you an idea. But when I do this with owners, the jump is huge. It's massive. You know, I've seen instances where we've changed the way we market as well. We've dropped actually looking for all the leads, and we've just worked on conversion for a while and worked on average sale and retention. It works really well. So look, there's one other thing. Beliefs. See, a belief is just something you believe to be true at the moment. What do you believe to be true about your business now? And change it. What would you like to believe? I've done this exercise a lot with people. We write down what they believe to be true about the marketplace. And then we say, what would you like to be true in 3 months' time? What do you believe now? And it's going to be positive, and then we're going to go after it. We're going to make it happen. See, you run your company doesn't run you. You can control that environment that you're in. So please, take control, drive it. You can do it. I see it time and time again when people come in and they're worn down. And just from 3 gifted sessions, we change them. We give them, we invigorate them. And you can do that yourselves. So please, focus We're sprinting now. We're coming up to the final stage of this year where we get ready to sprint. Be ahead of the curve. Be ahead of your competitors. Raise your visibility now. It's from a book Oversubscribed where you're building that momentum. But if you're not marketing now, market now. Market strong. Don't need to spend a lot of money. You can do it other ways. Most importantly, please stay safe, please stay well, and good luck.